Hello, today I want to talk about Power Automate and creating a flow to pull attachments out of emails and copy them into Teams or SharePoint sites. So let's begin. We're going to start with using the new email connector from Outlook in Power Automate. As you can see here, we're looking for attachments. So I actually like to do only with attachments. That way it skips emails missing attachments. Here we actually use two variables. We're setting or initializing the variable. For this variable, I have a month and a year, and I'm actually using a string split function, which will split by a separator. I'm using a hyphen as a separator. When it comes in from the body of the email, part of that is going to include the date and time. And when you split on a hyphen, what it'll do is it'll actually put it into two compartments in an array. The first element in the array will be the year or the month, and the second element will be the other. And so all you have to do is just pull in this data, just like I did here. Not all dynamic content exists in this little drop-down menu, so sometimes you do have to type it in yourself, which is why it looks strange here. Trigger outputs, parentheses, question mark, and then you actually have brackets with the literal data that you're pulling out of the body. You can see here that year is actually the first element, element 0 in this array, and month would be element 1, which is the second element. I'm going to come back to this for each loop, but real quickly, the condition I have pulling in here is just checking to see if the attachment ends in .pdf, .doc, whatever you actually want to pull in. Since Teams and SharePoint are actually linked on the back end, you can just use create file as a SharePoint connector. The site address just pulls down to whatever you have access to, and you can just dig down into the folder. I actually then create a folder path using that path variable that we created using the month and year. And the file name actually derived from the data input variables that come in as dynamic content. So as you can see here, I'm saying who is it from and what's the name of the file itself. File content is content bytes, and that's a dynamic content element as well. You can pull that from the get attachment connector. Here's the get attachment connector within the apply to each loop, which will loop through every single attachment in the email. And that's just a quick example of how you can save some time with your workflow using Power Automate flows.